UFC Abu Dhabi, Robert Whittaker versus the Rainer full card prediction. We're going to start with the prelims, ending with the main event. This is a decent card. Of course, the Abu Dhabi cards are always kind of stacked. Let's get straight into it. Welcome to the script. We're going to start off opening the card, Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha. Now, I'm going Martin Buday. He only lost in the UFC to Shamil Gaziev. As you know, Shamil Gaziev is a good fighter. I believe he's 13-1, 14-1 right now. Marcus Buchecha, I believe he is the favorite. I don't know how. Although, he does have a good resume. We've seen this time and time again where debutants don't really look... people who debut in the UFC just don't look like how they look like in other organizations. I feel like this is a little disrespectful to Martin Buday. I believe he's like a plus 40 dog. I'm going to be going the dog early in this fight. And Marcus Buchecha, I just can't really pick him. He looks like he could be a solid fighter, but especially in the heavyweight division, you just really never know. Moving on up the card, we have Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. And I'm going Stephen Nguyen. They don't have the odds for this fight yet, but Stephen Nguyen is pretty big for the featherweight division at 5'11". They have pretty similar builds, but Muhammad is 2-0 and 0-2 in the UFC, hasn't won. Stephen, although he is coming off a loss, I think he's just a better overall fighter. He is kind of questionable because he did lose to, I forgot the name, but the guy wasn't that good. He did beat AJ Cunningham and a couple other people. Nothing really, no name that really jumps out. But I just feel like he's better than Muhammad Yahya. I believe he's coming off a finished loss. So we'll just have to see. But I believe Steven can get it done. I would imagine he's the favorite. But until those odds come out, I don't really know. If he's a dog, which I doubt it, I'll snag this. Or if he's not that big of a favorite, I'd snag that up. Moving on up the card, we have Ibo Aslan versus Billy Alekna. And if you're not familiar with Billy, he did versus Bogdan Guskov for the Islam versus Moicano card. He came in on short notice against Bogdan, looked good. And he's more of a grappler. He was able to get Bogdan down a few times. Then he got up. And Guskov ended up getting the finish. It should have been a KO. Don't know what the rest were looking at. Then Bogdan just snatched his neck up for a guillotine. And it was kind of like he's kind of like just panicked, I guess you could say. And he just gave up. But I'm going Ibo Aslam. Billy can pose a grappling threat, but Ibo is just way better than him on the feet. He's coming off getting destroyed on the feet. So my only problem, I guess you could say, is if Ibo can defend those takedowns. I mean, we've seen in that fight against I don't know, I'm forgetting the name, but Kutalaba. We've seen that fight against Kutalaba. He kind of just let the takedowns happen. He kind of tried to defend it, but takedown defense could have been better. So if Billy's able to implement that, Ibo's going to have a hard time. But I am going Ibo to get it done. Moving on up the card, we have Tabitha Ricci versus Amanda Ribas. Now, I'm going Tabitha Ricci. She is a dog. Amanda is the better fighter. The problem is the judges love some Tabitha Ricci. Amanda Ribas is good. She's coming off that armbar loss to Mackenzie Dern. But I feel like, I don't know, man. I just feel like Tabitha Ricci, she's also pretty 50-50. She has this new boyfriend who's a boxer. And she thinks she's a boxer now when she's more of a grappler. She's kind of, a petite grappler. And I think if Tabitha Ricci tries to grapple, maybe avoid some of the judo from Ribas, I think she can get the win. But if she tries to just kind of throw BS, I don't really know if she's going to get the win. But Tabitha Ricci, with that being said, she is coming off a loss to the number one contender. So I'm going to have to go Tabitha Ricci. I feel like her mixing it up can get the win, but I wouldn't sleep on Amanda Ribas. to get it done. Moving on up the card, we have Davy Grant versus Damon Blackshear. Now, Davy Grant is going off that win against Ramon Tavares. Got dropped like 2 to 3 times. Ramon Tavares was supposed to win that fight, but Ramon Tavares kind of sold. I guess he got a little too excited. Didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he thought like he was going to get the flatline KO on Davy Grant, but he didn't follow up. I believe Davy Grant could have lost that fight if Tavares followed up. He didn't follow up. And I think Damon Blackshear is just way better than that. I feel like Damon Blackshear can come in. He can implement his grappling, get Davy Grant on the feet, possibly get a submission. He is coming off a submission win. So, Damon Blackshear is pretty big for the bantamweight division at 5'10". And Davy Grant, man. Bro, he's coming off neck surgery. He beat Ramon Tavares, so I can't really say too much. But I feel like Damon Blackshear, he's decent on the feet. He has the grappling edge. Davy Grant is more of a striker, so if he's able to get him down, sounds pretty straightforward to me. Moving on up the card, we have Muslim Salikov versus Carlos Leal. Now, Carlos Leal is a monster. He was a minus 700, minus 800 in his last fight and looked it. He actually beat Renat Fakhrinov, but the judges, it was in Abu Dhabi, which is I'm kind of worried about this because, like, Carlos Leal should win, but Muslim Salikov, I wouldn't be surprised if the judges try to pull some BS or some heavy bias towards Carlos Leal, but he should win this fight. He is the better fighter. He's a striker, has serious power in his hands, has good takedown defense, was able to negate majority of the takedowns from Renat, if not all. And Muslim Salikov, he's good though. You know, he's fought some good names. He's lost to some good names. But I just feel like Carlos Leal is the real deal, and I feel like he's going to be able to show that. We'll just have to see throughout the fight. But give me Carlos Leal. Hopefully the judges don't put no BS like how they did that one time with Renat. And they said by unanimous decision he could have at least lost split. But, moving on up the card, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Said Nurmagomedov. I'm going Bryce Mitchell. He is making his debut at bantamweight, so just be a little wary of that. We don't know how the weight cut's going to look. But with that being said, Said is a good fighter. He has some subs on his record. They're from guillotines, but he's actually not a submission type of guy. He's more of a point and strike. He's a slick striker, and when people try to dive in, he just has a nasty guillotine and is able to finish it time and time again. But with that being said, he has been shown to get taken down. And even though Bryce Mitchell is coming off a ninja choke sub, and maybe when he tries to wrestle Said, he might get that neck snatched, I think Bryce Mitchell is going to win this. He was the dog. He's flipping to the favorite at the moment. And Bryce Mitchell, I think this was more of those, like, cuts, like, to go to 135 because he got his ass beat in 145. But I don't know, man. I think it was more of like a spontaneous decision. I feel like Bryce Mitchell, he lost to the best of the best. Emmett, Topuria, now Gene Silva. I think he could have stood at featherweight a little bit. He's also pretty big for the division at featherweight, 5'10". Pretty solid. But, bantamweight, I think he'll do good as well. He's pretty big for bantamweight at 5'10". We just have to see that weight cut affects him in the cage. But give me Bryce Mitchell to get it done. If he's able to implement the grappling, he might even get a submission on Said Nurmagomedov. Moving on to the main card, we have Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. Now, before I make my pick, Nikita Krylov coming off that bad KO loss to Dominic Reyes, first round. Did not expect that. I actually had picked Krylov, but Dominic Reyes has good takedown defense and was the better striker. With that being said, Bogdan Guskov is coming off a submission win. Should have been a KO, but I'm going Krylov, man. And literally for this sole reason. Don't get me wrong, Bogdan is a serious threat when it comes to throwing hands. And you could also argue, Krylov is coming off a KO. But outside of finishing, Krylov has a huge wrestling advantage. Bogdan Guskov has been taken down. He hasn't versed the comp of Nikita Krylov. He hasn't versed anybody close to Nikita Krylov. Krylov has the edge in experience, fights fought double the amount of fights Bogdan Guskov has. And if he's able to get the takedown, which I believe he will be, I think Krylov can finish him on the ground. I think this fight will end in a finish. And with that being said, give me Nikita Krylov to get it done. Moving on up the card, we have Asul Almabayev versus, it's supposed to say Jose Ochoa. So I'm going to break it down like it's Jose Ochoa. I'm going Asul Almabayev. Reason being, Jose Ochoa, he's stepping in on short notice, and he did look really impressive against Cody Durden. A lot of people are going to say, well, Manel Kape made Asul Almabayev look dumb. I mean, he did. Manel Kape made Asul Almabayev look like he sucked. But if we take away that fight, Asul Almabayev literally was undefeated prior to that in the UFC. He's able to implement his wrestling good. And I feel like it's going to be the same result as his other fights. He's going to get the takedowns. He's going to get the control time. Jose Ochoa, good prospect. But is it on the level as of Asul Almabayev? I feel like this is a pretty big step up in competition. Don't get me wrong. Cody Durden is a really good win. Finishing him at that. But I think Asul Almabayev will be a harder fight. He is more grapple heavy. We have to see how Jose Ochoa will look on the ground, how the takedown defense is going to look. But with that being said, give me Asul Almabayev to get it done. I believe he was the dog, then he's the favorite. The odds are kind of everywhere right now, but I personally think he's going to be able to get it done. Moving on up the card, we have Shada Bullet versus Marc-Andre Barriault. And I'm going Shada Magomedov. Marc-Andre, he's coming off a nasty KO against Bruno Silva, I believe his name was. Shada also knocked him out, so they have that in common. But Marc-Andre, like, he's a good striker. But Shada Bullet, bro, like on the feet, he just gives everybody a problem. I actually had him to beat MVP, but MVP's style posed a lot of problems to a lot of people. Marc-Andre kind of really isn't like that. He's a little more upright. He can mix it up, but he doesn't have that bounce in and out style like MVP. So I think it's going to be a little easier for Shada Bullet to really understand and figure out his striking game. A lot of people, he's a problem on the feet for a lot of people. So, like I said, I'm going Shada Bullet. Marc-Andre, though, he will maybe make this a little closer on the feet, but I think throughout the rounds, maybe round one be a little close with Marc-Andre, and then Shada Bullet will build up onto the second and third round. I don't think there will be a finish. I think this will end in decision. But with that being said, Marc-Andre does get KO'd in the first, so you never know. And Shada Bullet likes to throw a lot of kicks, so we'll see how Marc-Andre defends that. Moving on up the card, we have Peter Yan versus Marcus McGee. Peter Yan, literally bored out of his mind, decided to fight the 12th ranked Marcus McGee. This is honestly a solid fight, though. I'm gonna take Peter Yan. I think Peter Yan this is kind of a self-explanatory pick. Former champ, better everywhere. Although Marcus McGee is on a win streak, we've seen those calf kicks from Jonathan Martinez give him a hard problem. And Peter Yan's just a different level. Like, super, super durable fighter. Has never been finished. Marcus McGee, although he is on a little win streak, I feel like in the later rounds, this is a 3-round fight, by the way, so Marcus McGee has a better chance. 5 round, this would be Peter Yan would be a minus fucking 700. But I think Marcus McGee has a chance to attempt to show Peter Yan levels. But with that being said, I'm going Peter Yan. Pretty self-explanatory. more experience, better striking, more durable. And I mean, the way he can mix it up, with the wrestling, the judo trips. Give me pretty on to get it done. Movsar Evloev versus Aaron Pico has been canceled. I would have went Movsar Evloev to get it done. Moving on up the card, we have Robert Whittaker versus Rainer the Ritter. Robert Whittaker coming off that loss against Chimaev, where he got his jaw pretty much broken. And then we got Rainer the Ritter, who's coming off that submission win. Oh no, the KO win against Bo Nickel. Fraud check Bo Nickel. And before we get into it, this is... Robert Whittaker is not 6 foot. I believe he looks more like 5'10". Maybe it's the way he's built. He looks more like 5'10", maybe 5'11", around there. Rainer the Ritter's a big guy. I don't think Robert Whittaker's 6 foot. Even at that, there's a 4-inch height advantage. Rainer the Ritter has the reach advantage. And Rainer the Ritter is better in the grappling, man. He's a lot better in the grappling. Looking back at the Whittaker losses, his resume looks impressive. Of course, lost to Chimaev, lost to Adesanya, but his wins besides Aliskerov don't look that impressive at all. He beat Marvin Vettori, cool. Marvin Vettori has been on a little skid. He beat Paulo Costa, cool. Those really aren't impressive wins now. Even though Paulo Costa is coming off a win against Roman Kopylov, I still don't think Paulo Costa is that old Paulo Costa. If you know what I'm trying to say. Maybe back then that was a good win. Now, Paulo Costa gets beat now by really good contenders. The Ritter has been finishing prospects easily. He's been finishing prospects easily. He KO'd Bo Nickel. Nasty KO too. It was a knee to the body. Sat him down. He submitted Gerald Meerschaert. Which was an impressive win. He made Holland look silly. And he's coming off a fraud check win. We've seen Whittaker struggle with that awkward striking in Dricus du Plessis. And Rainer the Ritter is awkward in the striking. Very awkward. He also has really good grappling, man. And I think if it hits the ground in any way, the Ritter is going to have a crazy advantage over Whittaker. So I'm going the Ritter as the dog, as my pick. I feel like he's just going to look a lot bigger in that octagon against Whittaker. And I think he could get it done, man. He can get it done. Those are my picks for UFC Abu Dhabi. Go ahead and check out Winnable. Winnable has all our predictions. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We post all our picks ahead of time on Instagram before these videos drop. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.